Hello, welcome to Lemon Series, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for Mortal Kombat 2. But before we get into that, let's get the house plan out of the way. Shall I leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on Mortal Kombat, and of course, hit the subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? So, Mortal Kombat 2. Well, first, let me give a quick summary on how I felt about Mortal Kombat 1 that came out in 2021. This was during a time where they released the movies in theaters and on HBO Max at the same time because it came out in 2021. And I went and saw it in the theaters, and for a movie that I really did feel like had the deck stacked against them because they had a first-time director, they had a first-time writer, which that's fine. You need to make your debut in some way, but when you have both of those that are two very crucial parts of your movie making, that it's really hesitant going into it, especially since the other Mortal Kombat movies have a certain rep to them. I thought they did an overall good job. Now, I did have my qualms with that first movie as there was no tournament. I would have liked to see a much more focus on characters that we already know as opposed to creating a whole new character such as Cole Young. I liked him overall in the first film, but again, I would have liked to see a Liu Kang being in that role, a Kung Lao in that role, a Johnny Cage that we get in this film. And overall, I would say not that they were catering to me, but I think overall Mortal Kombat fans, the team behind this going into this were like, okay, heard the feedback, actually really took in that feedback and applied it to this film. There is a lot more focus within characters that we already know. Cole Young is still in the movie, but he is not the main character that he was in the first film, which I think, that's just Mortal Kombat 101. I think you focus on different characters as you go because there is such a fleshed out roster that, again, you can switch out the leads as you go through the films. This one is focused on Johnny Cage on the Earthrealm side, but we also get a main character within the Outer World side, being Katana, which I was not expecting going into it, and I really did welcome it as soon as it started. I would say I was really intrigued by both of their journeys. I think the film overall did a really good job on really fleshing out these storylines in a way where I really felt like it was pro wrestling in a lot of ways. And I mean that completely complimentary, because another criticism that we had for this for the first film was that there was no tournament, right? I said that at the top. Here, the tournament is very much the focus. It is the structure within the film. Like, there is not a whole lot of time in between scenes that does not result in someone punching someone in the face and that there is a fight that progresses. And I really did appreciate that. And within you have that time where you go, okay, we got to really bring focus to the fights. We have to bring focus to this tournament. And you see every single fight in the tournament as well, which I believe there was a total of 8. We may have gotten to 10. I'll have to really think about it, or maybe see the movie again to really get that number. But there is a good amount of fights within the film that I am trying to count in my head as I am talking to you. And when you have that much fight and you have to give these fights a lot of time, you're talking about maybe 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes, the max per each fight, that there's not a whole lot of time to really give to character development and to make you attached to these characters, which gives, one, a lot of credit. I heard some people coming out of the theater saying the first one is not even necessary anymore because of what transpires in this one, and that how they kind of reintroduce everything in this second one as well. I would say, is it crucial viewing? No, but if you want to be more attached to these people, I think the first one does a really great job. Again, on this one, they mainly focus on Katana and Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage, played by Carl Urban. I was very questionable on that casting because I would have liked someone young. I would have liked the Glenn Powell in that role if we were going to get prime Johnny Cage, right? Or even The Miz. If we're going to talk within wrestling, I think he could have played Johnny Cage absolutely perfectly. Doing Carl Urban, who is older than what I picture Johnny Cage to be, I was very questionable on. But that's what they were leaning into within this film. And I think Carl Urban absolutely knocked it out of the park. And Adeline, I cannot recall her last name, but the actress who plays Katana does a great job with everything that's given to her. Really, like I would say, if we were to really balance out the run times, maybe Johnny Cage has a little bit more to do than Katana, but I was way more attached to Katana than I was to Johnny Cage. I was still very much along for the ride for Johnny Cage, but Katana, I was really cheering for throughout the whole entire film. Every time we cut back to her, even though again out of the two leads, she probably had the least amount of runtime. And then when it comes to everyone else that we met from the first one, and these fights start happening, and you know, in the world of Mortal Kombat, some people gotta go. There's fatalities in here. I really did feel it. I went, no, not this person, not that person. And I think, again, if you just go into this one, maybe you're a little bummed, but I don't think it has the same amount of impact when these people that have been in both films go, that you're just going, damn, that you really feel it whenever these people do have to get going. Now, they still very much have a presence, and again, overall, I would say the film is an ensemble piece as opposed to, hey, we have our main two leads, we're just going to focus on them. Everyone really gets their time to shine within the film. And overall, I do think this was better than the first one. I think out of, we have 4 Mortal Kombat movies that have been made now. I do think this is the best one out of the 4. Look, is this a movie that we're going to remember when we start talking Oscar consideration? No, absolutely not. Does this movie really have something to say? No. Like I said, in this movie, at some point, someone's going to punch someone in the face, and that's how they're going to resolve their differences. They're going to resolve their difference by fighting. Anything can be solved with a good punch, right? That's what this movie is trying to be, and therefore, it executes in that perfectly. You have to go into the expectations of knowing what you're going to get into. This is not a movie that's going to be for everyone. And I also say, like I said at the top, with the 2021, depending on where you saw it at first. I saw this in the theater first time, so I went here to see the theater. Well, it was only in theaters for the second time. I still had a very much good time. I thought it was a great theater experience. I was in a pretty full crowd all the way through, and we were laughing, we were oohing, ahhing, going, oh shit, all the way through the whole entire film. It was a hell of a theater experience. But if you saw the first one at home first, I don't know how that would progress when you head into the theater, especially if you're not as familiar within the world of Mortal Kombat. Now, as for criticism, because again, this movie's by no means perfect. If you really want to poke holes within the story, you can poke holes all the way through, and until the cows come home. Where again, the story overall, when it comes to our 2 main characters, are really, really good. Everyone else is kind of within the background, even though again, I will say it is an overall ensemble piece. The fighting as well, overall great. Especially when we have the people who are very familiar, who have a fighting background. Those shots do linger on a little bit longer. There's not as many cuts within it. There's not a whole lot of, you could tell, editing within the film to make the fight look good, right? However, there are some shots in here where it resembles the game perfectly. There is literally one, I think it's of Shao Kahn, where it's like, in the story mode of the game, when you're about to get into the fight, you focus on that person says something, and then the camera like pans out to show both, and you know, goes round 1 fight. We get that. And it's not even that I didn't get my left to right camera shot. It's just overall, unless you can tell these people have fighting experience within them, the shots don't linger a long time. Like when they do a punch, there's a cut, and then if there's going to be a slide kick. Now, again, overall, very, very engaging fight scenes. But I would like to see, once we get to round 3, which I do think this movie is going to do pretty successful at the box office, I would like longer one shots within the camera just to make it feel lived in. I think that's just more of a me thing overall. That again, I just want singular shots to linger on a little bit longer when we are in the fights, as opposed to, okay, like, exciting, now we're going to cut here, now we're going to cut there, now we're going to cut there, okay, now we're going to pan up, we're going to pan down. Just all these, I mean, camera tricks is a really strong word, but again, I would like to see the performers actually performing as opposed to all the behind the scenes stuff that we do within the film. But again, overall, for what the movie is trying to be, to me, it's like almost a perfect B movie. And again, I mean that completely complimentary. I had a lot of fun, man. And overall, that is the first thing I ask myself when I come out of a movie. Was I entertained? You goddamn right I was. It was definitely showtime when I went into it. So yeah, get over there. Test your might. What's another one? And witness this fatality to see who wins the movie. I tried to force some Mortal Kombat puns in it. But yeah, if I had to rank this on the lemon scale, where it goes sour lemon at the bottom, then expired store-bought lemonade, bad movie, but hey, there's some good stuff in it. Store-bought lemonade, good movie, but there's problems in it. Lemonade, it's a fine movie. Freshly squeezed lemonade, great movie, just some minor nitpicks here and there. Strawberry lemonade at the very top because it's the best kind of lemonade. It's kind of hard to rank this one because, again, with what this movie is trying to set out to do, it knocks it out of the park all the way through, and I have minor problems within what it was trying to execute. So therefore, with where the movie is on what it's trying to execute, it's a freshly squeezed lemonade. However, as a movie overall, if we're going to compare it to every other film within the industry, or let alone just within 2026, I would say Mortal Kombat 2 is a store-bought lemonade, but it is a really good store-bought lemonade. Again, there are a lot of problems within the script within this film. If you really sit back and think, I am actually thinking about some things right now, especially later on within the film, that I'm just going, well, that doesn't really make any sense. Why would they do this? They could have just done this the whole entire time. I'm not going to get into it because that's very spoiler territory, but you can do that through this movie the whole entire way through, but that's really not the main focus of the film. So again, it just depends on how you perceive the film. If this type of stuff is not your cup of tea, if you didn't like the first movie, you're probably not going to enjoy this one. So just temper your expectations when you're going into it and expect to have a fun ride if this is the type of ride that you do enjoy going on. But yeah, comment below and know your thoughts on Mortal Kombat 2. Leave a like if you made this far within a review. I do greatly appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. And don't forget to squeeze the days, guys, because life is too short not to give you all. So squeeze every opportunity that you can. Until next time, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.